Welcome to the Eye on Annapolis Local Business Spotlight. There are thousands of locally owned businesses in the area, some small and some large. Some you may know and others you don't. But one thing they all have in common is a great story, and we want to share it with you. Join us every Saturday as we talk to the founders, the owners, and the managers of local businesses you have come to know and love, and those you will come to know and love. Now here's your host, John Frenay, with this week's Local Business Spotlight.
Well, I tell you, I think this is probably one of the coolest places I've done a podcast.
Yes, it's a beautiful day.
We're under the shade on a playground. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
It doesn't.
And we're talking with Erin Snell, who is the executive director of Charting Careers. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming out to the playground. Charting Careers, we know about it. We've heard about it and everything else. Now, in a nutshell, cutting it down to the bone, it is a mentoring program that is helping kids that need the help to be mentored, in the most basic sense.
Yep.
And where did it all start?
It started originally as a program underneath the Box of Rain nonprofit.
Okay, which is now morphed over into the Annapolis Maritime Museum in part.
Exactly. So there's a long history of partnership between the Annapolis Maritime Museum and Charting Careers. And so originally we started off as the year-round support for many of the students who are in the Box of Rain summer camp and Build a Boat program. And when the executive director was retiring, the maritime programming became a part and merged with Maritime Museum, and Charting Careers became its own nonprofit.
Okay. Now, how did you get into the nonprofit world? What's your story?
Yeah, that's a great question. I grew up in the Dallas, Texas area and went to school in Austin, Texas.
You still have a little bit of the twang.
A little bit of a y'all comes out sometimes. And while I was in college, I did AmeriCorps and worked with elementary school students and really loved helping teach kids how to read. And then got interested in Teach for America and went and did teaching in rural North Carolina and taught there for a few years. Very cool.
Well, certainly we have a need for charting careers here in Anne Arundel County and Annapolis in particular.
Absolutely.
I mean, I know I just spoke with Romy Pittman, who is establishing a new Village Academy, which is a high school for the kids that are capable, that have pretty much checked out of traditional education.
Yep.
And in today's world, it just seems so easy to check out of pretty much anything. And we're a school district of 88,000 students or whatever it is at the latest thing, but there are some cracks and it's easy to fall through.
Yep.
And that's why we count the blessings that we have organizations like Charting Careers. I've always been saying that it doesn't take a lot to send a kid or an adult or anything on their way. Not a lot of effort. I sit on the signature board at Annapolis High, and
awesome.
we do a lot of networking and stuff like that with the older kids and stuff like that. And one thing I always tell them, I said, very few people will outright refuse to help you. There are very few of them. Now, I'm not going to move, the sun and the earth for you. And it's all based on my time and everything else I get. But, if somebody comes up to me and says, hey, does anybody here know Erin? Well, I don't know her that well, but hey, I've got her email address, and I'm going to, and I'm going to pass it on to them. And most people will do that, and that's something that I think a lot of kids don't get. They don't understand that there are people that are willing to mentor them, and that is a mentorship. I mean, it's not a full. I'm holding your hand through everything, but it's something that will help them get ahead. So it doesn't take a whole lot. And now you guys follow students from
second grade all the way through elementary, middle, high school, to and through college and career, with this idea that each young person, it takes a village, and that we're here to be this, help build the support network with families and the community and the young person around them.
So second grade is where you start?
We do, yep.
It's kind of funny because I was talking to Joanne Matson, and she kicks them all out in second grade.
Yeah, she's wonderful, and she's a great partner. Sarah's a great partner of ours too, and there's such a need for reading tutoring, as STAIR well knows and as we know, and also we've been trying to work on a referral process, so as students are graduating from second grade with STAIR, that they have that option of joining Charting Careers for third grade and up as well.
Now tell me about the program. What does a student go through when they get into Charting Careers?
Absolutely. Well, in second grade in elementary school, it's twice a week after school programming in partnership with the Maritime Museum. So they get to go to the Annapolis Maritime Museum Park location and hike and get to kayak with the Maritime Museum staff. And then we provide a lot of the social, emotional, academic support for students. And then a lot of that, our academic support in elementary school is reading tutoring and helping them discover that joy of reading because it is so foundational for the rest of their lives. And then in middle school, they still come after school, but we work to match them with a one-to-one mentor and keep building in those neat opportunities to explore the world. So field trips, college visits. And then in high school, we go into Annapolis High School during the day and do more of that college and career readiness, social, emotional support so that they're ready to launch when they go off to college or trades or career.
Well, I met one of your co-workers, Lily.
Lily, she's wonderful.
Annapolis
Yes.
Signature Program there. But and I did see the wonderful photographs of your excellent field trip to Washington, D.C. I think it was probably over the summer, maybe late spring, something.
Yeah, it was. Trying to remember now. Yep.
Yeah, but does it get a little bit more intense as they get a little bit older? I mean,
it does, and I think what makes us different too is the family support piece. And so, as for many students, what might be a barrier could be related to systemic racism or other troubles that are in the community. And sometimes families just need a little bit of help, or they don't have that village of support already. So we do a lot of connecting parents with food resources. If they're having housing insecurity, we assist with that. Sometimes it might be that a family is really struggling with mental health, and so we help connect with mental health services. And so that piece, I think, is really, really critical.
There are so many external sources that can affect a love of learning and a desire to succeed. And, a lot of them can be just overcome with a little bit of help. I know that somebody had told me one time that at Annapolis High that there was a high preponderance of the Latino parents that had never stepped foot in the school. Part of that may be with documentation. Part of that may be a fear of, it's the government, which they're not. And a lot of it, they said, is just a language barrier. And again, we have the resources here. We want to help you because we want to see your child go through and succeed and move on to whatever it may be, whether it be through the military, the trades, or college, or anything like that.
I think you make a really good point. I just wanted to piggyback off of that too, just about the trust building though, because I think for so many kids and families, it's about having trusted adults. So the more you can help build those relationships and foster those bonds, then the more comfortable kids and families will be being vulnerable or saying they might need help. Because it's hard to ask for help if you don't know somebody that well sometimes.
Now your tutors and your mentors that are working with Charting Careers, they are working with the family. So if little Timmy's at home or Mary's at home and she's struggling, or maybe there's something going on that nobody knows about, can that parent call their mentor and say, hey, this is what I'm seeing? Because an awful lot of times some aspect of their life is seen, but it's not necessarily known about, but it doesn't impacting.
Typically, the more family support piece comes from our staff because that's a lot for a volunteer to handle. And so, but a tutor or a volunteer might say, I've noticed this student really wants to play soccer and might not have soccer shoes. And so then we would be the one to reach out to the family and say, hey, does that young person need some help getting their soccer shoes? Because we see that as helping them on their path to explore those interests.
So this is everywhere. I mean, it's not specifically just reading, writing, and arithmetic. Okay, get you into college, or get you into a job.
The whole person, wellness for the whole person, the family, and the community.
How does a student get involved in this? There are plenty of students in the area that are living, and I don't want to pigeonhole anything that Charting Careers is, but they may be living in subsidized or public housing that are sitting there. I'm better than this. This is not where I'm going to be, and whether that be in 5 years or 10 years or 20 years. I mean, can a student come and enroll with Charting Careers, or is it really sort of a
They can, and most of our students, we recruit a lot of whole family units, so a lot of times our new students are the siblings or cousins of our existing students, but we also have staff who are leaders who live in a lot of the neighborhoods where our students live, and they help recruit families, and they actually do. So we have that whole longitudinal wraparound model of support, but then we also have these neighborhood leaders called community impact specialists who are doing support, goal setting, resource connections for families and neighborhoods, and so they do a lot of referring of new students for us.
And that's your boots on the ground.
Yes.
People that are in there. What areas do you serve? I mean, I know we're centric to Annapolis.
Yep.
Are you primarily with the Annapolis cluster, or are you...
We are. We're just with the Annapolis cluster right now.
Okay,
There's so much need just within Annapolis that we decided to really focus and just do as much as we can right here.
How big is the organization?
In terms of staff or students or...
Well, yeah.
All of it? Okay. Well, we have grown dramatically because there's been so much need. And so before, when we first started, there were maybe 2 of us part-time staff. We're now up to about 14 staff people. Some are more full-time, some are part-time. We serve about 70 students in our wraparound support program, and then their caregivers, which is about 30. And then through that neighborhood program, we're serving around another 100 individuals. And then we've started doing career days. So many kids need to be able to see themselves in the leaders in the community and to be able to imagine a future for themselves. So we're starting to do career days like last year and this coming year at Annapolis Middle for all of the 7th graders doing those.
I think that's really important too. And then, again, without trying to pigeonhole, but you look into a African American community, and I don't want to get into politics, but I mean, we do have some very capable, very good politicians, both from Governor Moore all the way down to County Executive Pittman and down to Mayor Buckley. I mean, we're starting to realize that everything around us needs to reflect the community in which we live in.
Absolutely.
And I think it's just got to be such a huge boost to a child's self-esteem to go into City Hall and see Will Rowell as the assistant to the mayor. Or
your new superintendent.
Or to see, oh my God,
Bedell.
Dr. Bedell is awesome. I spoke with him probably 4 or 5 months ago, and I just left. This dude is amazing.
He is.
And thank God he didn't go to the state.
I know.
We're not done with you yet.
He's going to do great things here. He already is, but I'm very excited and hopeful about what he's going to do.
Well, he has. I mean, he's got the, and I can't remember, I'm drawing a blank on the name of the program that he's got, where he's got volunteers that come in and are just there with the kids in high school.
Be present.
Be present. Hashtag be present.
Hashtag be present, yes.
But for a child of any age, whether that be a kindergarten to, a senior in high school or beyond, to sit there and say, we did this thing with Barack Obama when he was president too. I mean, that whole, anybody can grow up to be president. Okay, the reality is that very few of us are going, are going to be.
Right.
But the opportunity is there if you work it and do it. And that seems like what Charting Careers is really doing.
Absolutely. And I think one of our college students said it best. She just said, I didn't realize I deserved this until I had a mentor who helped me see that I deserved to be able to go to college. I deserved to have a really good job. And so I think it is just having somebody who can help you glimpse the future for yourself and kind of glimpse what's possible can really be transformational.
That's incredibly sad. It's a very powerful statement, but it's incredibly sad that any child doesn't feel that they deserve anything that they want. They may not always get it.
Yeah,
I mean, the Rolling Stones wrote a song about that. But
that there's so much. There is a lot of trauma, and there's a lot of tough stuff that very young people are having to go through in our community. Yeah.
Well, I just look at, I've said to my girlfriend hundreds of times, thank God I'm not a kid growing up in today's world. And just the additional. I mean, at the end of the day, I'd run in and I'd throw my books on my bed, get on my bike, and I'd be gone until somebody's mother yelled at me to get home for dinner.
Right.
It wasn't carting off, we're playing this sport, or we're playing that sport, or the tutoring. It seemed a simpler life.
Yep.
And I don't know whether it's better or worse, but it is what it is. And we do need to support our youth because, our youth really is going to define who our community is. Yep. As we move forward in the world.
Absolutely, and they need lots of opportunities to explore, and they need people who believe in them. And I'm really hoping that there's not middle school sports right now. Where I grew up, you had competitive middle school sports, and I'm really hoping that we bring back a lot more activities for kids. And we need mentors. So I know within Charting Careers, the more tutors and mentors we have, the more kids we can support.
The mentors that we talked about, and you briefly touched base, said that was a little bit above the pay grade for a volunteer,
right?
To jump in and to coordinate with a family. How do we volunteer? What do you need, and what are the qualifications?
Absolutely. Well, we mostly just need interested people who are willing to be good listeners. And so with our elementary school students, we need people to come to the after-school program and really just play and interact with the young people, as well as spend some time reading. And then with the middle schoolers, we start mentoring relationships in sight at the after-school program to build trust and comfort. And then once a relationship is really taken off, then they can start to do things together in the community. And so most of our volunteer positions are about an hour a week. And we do train and we provide a lot of support so that you feel confident in that role.
It's pretty simple. There's not a whole lot,
Yeah.
and what an impact you can make in an hour a week.
Absolutely.
Right. What does it look like for college students? I mean, you said the college students and into careers and adulthood, and I mean, it seems like you have a curriculum for the primary school, if you will.
Yep.
But beyond that, it's a little. I mean, I imagine when somebody does get into college, you're sort of casting them off.
We have 15 students. All of our seniors have graduated from high school, and so we have 15 who've graduated. All of them have either started or are almost finished with college. Some of them are really thriving, and some of them are struggling. And so, but we do provide support and connection the whole way through. So we give scholarships to our seniors and our college students, and work to help provide them with other scholarship opportunities and other internships and resources. And so we connect. You know, I was talking to 2 different of our college students just today, trying to help support them.
You know, that's one thing. Is sort of a little bit of a misnomer. I mean, if any student wants to go to college, there will be a way to do it. And I know I had 3 kids, and people were going, "Oh my gosh, how the heck are you going to afford college?"
Right.
I'm not going to say it wasn't a struggle,
Right.
But we figured a way to do it. They wanted to go to college. They went and they hunted down things. We've got the Maryland Higher Education Commission, which every year, I can't remember what the prior secretary told me, but every year there's about $30 million that's just not claimed.
Right.
And it's a matter of saying, yes, send me the check.
Right. Yep.
You know, but there are so many different opportunities to find ways to do it. So, I mean, even if students are living in public or subsidized housing, the cost of going to school shouldn't be.
It is. It's hard to navigate all of it, though. The understanding how the system works and all the different applications for all the different scholarships and timing that if you're under duress or your family's under duress. And so, you know, this summer we had a student whose family was facing some housing insecurity. And so she just, you know, there are some deadlines that got missed. And it worked out, and she's now at school and doing well. But you need support. It's hard to, if you're a first generation student in particular and you don't know all of the logistics of it, it's very challenging. So the more people we can have helping, the better.
Absolutely there. Well, I'll tell you, you know, as far as success, I mean, you're saying you've got a huge graduation rate, better than the high school, better than the school district. And you've got kids that are matriculated in college. I'm sure there's in careers. I mean, that's got to really feel good for you and your staff when you see that. I mean, that's the proof.
It absolutely does. I think there's nothing that gives me more joy and our staff joy than seeing our kids off at school and happy and thriving. And I can't wait. We're not old enough yet to have students who have graduated yet from college, but we're about to be there, and to get to see those young people kind of becoming who they're meant to be and following their path for themselves is really exciting.
Where are they going?
We have one at Elmira College. We
Up
have
in New York?
Yep.
Okay.
One at Towson, 2 at UMBC, and the rest at community college.
I don't know what Elmira is, so you got some tigers, you got some retrievers.
Yeah, right. Yes. I forget. I should know what the mascot is. I'll have to look that up.
And that's really a sort of a good example. Okay, I mean, we've got Towson, which is a state.
Yep.
You know, it's a public college.
Yep.
UMBC as well. Elmira is a private university or college. I'm not sure which it is at this point, but it's a very well respected thing. So I mean, obviously that speaks to what you and your team are doing.
Thank you.
Day in, day in,
it's
day
very
in and
exciting.
out. How do we become involved with Charting Careers? First of all, the website is chartingcareers.org, which is really pretty simple. How do we become involved in that? I mean, if we want to mentor, if we want to volunteer, and I'm sure that we can go online and just throw money at you, right?
Absolutely. We will take it. We're still fundraising for this current programming year, so we absolutely would take donations. On our website, there's a section that says Get Involved, and then it lists a bunch of different ways. So we need mentors, we need tutors, we need volunteer drivers. So, you know,
really? So me, like the dumbest clod in the world,
No.
But I can drive.
Yes, absolutely. So we have a student that we've been taking to therapy on Friday at nights, and so right now it's been staffed with some volunteer rotations driving her. But we have another student who needed to get to cheerleading practice, and so transportation can be such a barrier in our community. And so just having trusted volunteer drivers who we have thoroughly background checked, fingerprinted, all of that is a huge help to families.
Yeah, no, I imagine. I know I coached Little League actually right here in this park at one point, and one time we would have 5 or 6 people missing.
Yep.
And it was a transportation issue, and my other coach's ego wouldn't allow us to forfeit a game because we didn't have it, so we'd be screaming up Forest Drive to go pick up some kids and go get your butt in the car. We're going to play baseball today.
Right, yes.
But you do have a newsletter which keeps you up on time, so you can sign up for that.
Absolutely, on our website.
Donate, volunteer, and also you guys are the beneficiary of the Rotary's Black Tie and Diamonds event in the spring.
Yes, March 9th. We are excited, and people can donate silent auction items, buy tickets, they can buy tables, or they can sponsor. So we'd love to have you there.
And that's in Annapolis Rotary. That's one of their annual fundraisers, and it's I think it's at the Graduate Hotel this year, as opposed to I think they've been at the Westin and the.
It should be fun with dancing and.
Absolutely are. Well, I think you guys are doing just some incredible work. I mean, I didn't realize that you were working with as many students, and your tentacles, if you will, are all over the community. I didn't quite realize that was that. And it's refreshing to know that you're working hands-on, one-on-one with some students, but there's some others that you can just sort of scooch along.
Exactly, because not everybody needs as intensive of support. There's some kids who really do need that full wraparound, and there's other kids who just need to see a couple different professionals who look like them to kind of plant that seed, and then they might need a little bit of scholarship help later.
That's the easiest thing. I think the core is really to believe in yourself.
Yep.
And I think that Charting Careers is really instilling that confidence in students to say, I can do this. And I also don't want to harp on going to college, because, I mean, that's certainly not necessarily the end goal for everybody.
Absolutely, yeah.
There's plenty of, trade careers, there's military, there's any number of different routes that you can go. And that always frustrated me with the kids when they got into, 9th grade. They said, okay, so what do you think about majoring in college? And I'm like, what happened to, taking 2 years of general studies in college and then, at the end of your sophomore year in college saying what you're going to major in? All right, so what turns you on so much about your job? What makes you get up in the morning and go, I have the best job in the world?
Because I get to work with such amazing young people and parents and staff, and I feel like we're helping make the world, I know it sounds cheesy, but I really do feel like we're helping make the world a better place, and seeing when a young person gets to grow and a family gets to get to meet their goals, there's nothing more thrilling for me. And so
it really is. And as you see a child go from third grade to fourth to fifth to middle school, kicking butt in high school,
exactly,
and beyond, is got to be incredible.
Yep. And seeing also some of our parents who we started off with who just really were struggling, who just needed somebody who believed in them to kind of support that family relationship with their child. That too is beautiful, because then that young person's getting to see their parent doing better, which then motivates them to do better. So agreed. And that's what I love, too, all of the partners that we have in the community, because the library is doing a great career night coming up just focused on the trades. And also seeing that the workforce development also has different career days. So a lot of what we're doing is just bringing our students, who we call our scholars, to the events that our community partners are already offering.
A lot of things is I think that a lot of the underserved communities, as you said, finding and navigating through college applications and stuff like that, don't know the resources that are available. They're so deep. I mean, I've talked to so many, people will email me all the time, stuff like that. There'll be a senior like, oh, how, my mother can't get to the doctor's appointment because she fell and broke. We've got a number for that.
Right.
The library, I mean, Skip is just kicking ass and taking names.
They are doing such a great job.
I mean, if you don't have internet, you can get a free library card and go get a Wi-Fi hotspot to check out. To work on a project.
And they support our program, and we can bring our after-school program there whenever we want, and they'll design activities for us, help give us books. They are fantastic partners.
Yeah, the library, and again, as you said, you're working with STAIR and everybody else that's really working toward a common goal. And as I said, that we look at a community, and I mean the face of a community, it changes over the years, but the little ones that are around today are going to be the face of the community tomorrow, and I can't think of a better investment than those guys. If nothing else, they're the ones that are going to be, buying my diapers in a couple of years.
Yep.
And that's really what it's all about with the community. I mean, I do love Annapolis and Anne Arundel County, in that they have really, when the going gets tough, they do step up. And I appreciate everything that you've done and your team has done And I can't wait. I want to do check back and find out what happens after college for some of your graduates.
Sounds great. I would love that.
To see where they go to the places. There's a kid's book about that. Oh, the places
you'll go.
Something. Or Dr. Seuss, maybe. I don't. It's been a while. But Erin, thank you so much for your time today. Again, I encourage everybody, chartingcareers.org. Find out what it's all about. If you have an hour to spend a week, that's not much. And if you're not a good reader yourself, drive somebody. There's plenty of ways to volunteer. And if you've got a couple dollars to spare, you can certainly give it. It'll go to some scholarships for people that are moving on. And check out the Black Tie and Diamonds come March at the Graduate Hotel with the Rotary. But thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening to this week's Local Business Spotlight. Please make sure to visit eyeonannapolis.net for all your local news, events, and opinion. And in case you haven't already, please subscribe to the Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief, where we bring you all the day's local news direct to your phone, tablet, or computer in about 10 minutes. It comes to you at 6 a.m. every Monday through Friday, and you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.